In FC25, control is everything, but if you're losing every match or you're just stuck on the same rank, it might not be your tactics, it's something deeper, and today I'm revealing exactly that. But before I do that, you need to realize this. Guys, in this game, there is a less mechanical skill gap, right? The ceiling isn't as high compared to other FPS games, for example, right? Now, what does that mean? That means there is one crucial skill that you need to master in order to improve. Everyone knows how to do a speed boost. Even my grandma can do a speed boost, right? L1 plus R2, that's very easy to do. Everyone knows how to shoot a low driven shot. Everyone knows how to do an incisive ball. Everyone knows how to do a driven pass. So, what separates you from a good player? Guys, when I say good player, I mean very good players, right? It is game sense. And it is something that cannot be trained. But today I'll teach you how to improve game sense because game sense is the key. If we take a look at this goal that I just scored, look, the opponent lacks game sense. If he had game sense, look at the radar, he would be able to spot that Henry is making a run. So even if Theo Hernandez is out of position, it's fine, right? He has to mark the most dangerous run, and that is of Thierry Henry. But he probably saw a video, do not pull players out of position, and then he tried to compensate for that. This is why I say in this game 2 plus 2 doesn't equal to 4. This game has a lot of variations, and if I tell you don't pull your players out of position, that is generally correct, but it does not apply to every situation. Does it make sense? You need to instead realize what happens when you pull a player out of position, right? The AI tries to fill the gap for that player, like I have explained many times. So in this situation, the opponent should have just stayed with Henry and mark the inside. But because he does not realize what happens, he tries to manually do the same thing the AI would have done for him. Instead of actually staying his ground, he ended up giving me a free goal. When I tell you do a ball roll or a player lock, you guys just try and copy it. Instead of thinking what happens when you do a ball roll, what happens when you do a ball roll or a speed boost? Tell me what happens when you do it. Oh, it's a change of direction. Oh, I get a speed boost. Guys, it is deeper than that. This is why I'm talking about game sense. This is something I often say. Instead of hoping to create a chance, actually create the chance, right? Most of UFC25 players just hope to get a chance, right? It is deeper than that, guys. I just know what happens when I do a ball roll, right? The opponent would think that I am going to pass the ball inside. Why? Because my player is changing directions. But instead, guys, see, if I am coming down on the wings like this, I perform a ball roll, followed up by a speed boost, I immediately have space to exploit. Then I can do a recycle, right? This all comes down to game sense. Once you know that every action in this game has a consequence, you will be able to improve rapidly. Some of you guys in the comments have been asking me why am I using Lewandowski? Well, one reason is that I'm staying liquid, and the second reason is, guys, it's because of his playstyles. I even have Ivo Suarez, right? I am using him because he has incisive and I got him untradeable. I could have used Harry Kane as well, but since I have Lewandowski who's untradeable. Why incisive is so important on a striker? It all comes down to game sense, right? He doesn't have a lot of direct assists for me, but what he does is he opens up a lot of passing opportunities for me. Most FC25 players expect the cam to be the one who is going to play the first time through ball in to the striker. When the striker plays a first time through ball to the right winger or the left winger and then we cut the ball back, that opens up a lot of attacking space for me, especially against a good player who expects me to actually do a first time lob through ball or a through ball from the cam. When he sees me do it with a striker, he gets confused. It all comes down to planting seeds and game sense. Guys, I want you to plant seeds in the mind of your opponent. That is my third point. What does it mean when I say plant seeds? Within the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game, take a Trivela shot, take a finish shot, right? Recycle the ball, perform a first time lob through ball or a ground through ball. Why? What does this do? Like I said, everything we do in this game has a consequence. Well, when you are next time going to cut in from the wings, the opponent would think, oh, this guy can do a first time through ball. Not only that, he would also be forced to think that he can hit a finish shot, he can hit a Trivela shot, right? Suddenly, he has to think about 2 to 3 things. That would open up space for you elsewhere. This is how we play this game. Guys, once you start approaching the game like this, you will see that you're improving much faster. I know I'm repeating myself, but it is a fact. Instead of playing like a headless chicken, actually think about what your opponent is doing. Most opponents in this game will always overcommit with their fullback. As a consequence of that, you will have enough space on the wings to create a 2 versus 1. That means tell your fullback to run and try to create a 2 versus 1 on the wings against the opponent's fullback, especially since he is going to be leaving a lot of space. Look, this player isn't that good, but most players, even when I analyze pro versus pro games, when you put your right winger, left winger, or inside forward, the opponent's fullback tries to get in as well. That is how the game is coded. You will always have space in behind to exploit. Pay attention to these little things and then try to exploit that space, right? Why do we do a skill move? To exploit the space. Why do we do a dribble? And just simple, right? To exploit the space. See, I'm planting seeds. What does Maradona have? Maradona has finish shot, right? So in this situation over here, when I cut inside on Maradona's left foot, see, he tries to move the goalkeeper. He gives me space because Maradona can hit the finish shot. Instead, I end up doing something else. These are little things, very little, very subtle things that you need to start training. Now, how can you train game sets? Well, I said it is something that you cannot train, and that is correct. Most FC25 players come to me and tell me, King Sunny, we know how to do a Trivela shot, we know how to use finesse, we know how to do everything on this game that pros do, but when we try to do it, we are not very consistent. The reason you're not consistent is because pros have game sense, you don't have game sense, you're just trying to play from the top of your head. You need to focus on one thing at a time. I said focus on planting seeds. For the next few games, just plant seeds in the mind of your opponent. For the next 10 games, just focus on, in the first 15 minutes, try to plant seeds. Take a Trivela shot, take a finish shot, do a first time lob through ball, do everything that you can do a speed boost, right? Just to make him confused. Now, once you make a habit of planting seeds in the opponent, and move on to the next thing, that is focusing on how the opponent defends, because everyone has a different defending style, and depending on how they defend, they'll give you space. If they are defending deep, you have time for Trivelas, you have time for recycles. If they are not defending deep, well, what can you do then? You can play a lot of through balls. Try to play through balls from wingers to striker, from striker to wingers, instead of doing the traditional way of going from cam to striker, cam to winger. Okay? This is all it takes to improve game sense. And then when you're watching someone better play, try to actually focus on how they are manipulating the opponent's defense. This game is all about manipulation of defense and attack. When we defend, what do? We try to manipulate the opponent into thinking that we are not going to do what he expects us to do, but end up doing exactly that. When we are attacking, what do? We try to bait him by doing a speed boost, right? We try to bait him by just faking a pass. It is all bait and switch until you get space, right? Or the time to make a tackle. This is all it takes. Training your mechanical skills should be the first priority, no doubt. And most of you need to train that. But some of you have good mechanical skill, yet you don't improve at this game. And it is just because of this. And if you're someone who lacks mechanical skill, you need to learn a few skill moves and dribbling tricks. This is why I want you to check this video out here to improve your mechanical skill